No matter what you might think, it's really been 10 minutes. Before we bring up our next performer, I'd like to have a few reminders. Our wonderful friends at KIOS are in the back. They might have some swag. They can always use a donation. We'd really appreciate that. We have some very nice people over here who are attending the bar. Stop by, have a couple of drinks, tip the hell out of them. They were worth it. And for us, at least, most importantly, coming up this weekend, we have our next art and fashion show called Dreaming. It'll be May 4th through the 6th at what used to be the Old Diamond Bar on 712 South 16th Street, and we will probably pimp this mercilessly throughout the evening. Oh yeah, you will see some more of us, but if you've not quite had your masochistic fill yet. On Friday at about 5:30, I believe, the Samurai of Spoken Word will be getting up and performing again. No, Saturday at 5:30, the Samurai of Spoken Word will be getting up and performing again. And I might even take a swing at doing a set, you never know. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite my dear friend, Ephemily, on stage. And if you've not yet experienced an Ephemily set, it is worth the price of, well, we didn't charge you admission, but it'll be worth the price of admission.
So who wants to listen to me talk dirty? All right, well, shut up already, will ya? Well, Dave beat me to the tip your wait staff, so we're going to scratch that off the list. KOIS, again, they're in the back, beat me to it. Next on my day of show post-it list here, Little Birdie tells me there's a birthday girl in the house. Is this correct? What possessed you to come watch us? Hope you're having a good time. Anyway, happy birthday. I'm also going to tell you, I had some shoulder issues last Friday. I may or may not be all here. When they gave me muscle relaxants, they weren't fucking around. Walking was kind of a challenge on Friday. Saturday, I still had to repeat sentences 3 or 4 times. 1 and 1 might equal 5.5 at the moment, so bear with me. All right. Ephemily is not on my birth certificate. Let's just throw that out there right now. Ephemily is, well, she kind of came into existence a few years ago, and the reason why I'm doing this bit is because it's a new venue. We got to pop the cherry. So I'm going to do 2 pieces for you tonight. The first one is, who the fuck is this Ephemily character anyway? And I know a lot of you must be thinking, who is this woman? And what does she think she can do with just one name? I mean, really, come on, Prince, Cher, Ephemily? No. This is Omaha, it's spoken word. Work with me. Oh, also, I do keep a blog back on the swag table. I do have some business cards if you really want to keep up with me for whatever reason possesses you to do so. Pick them up. Follow along. My reality distortion field has definitely got room for people to hang on to it. So, this came about in about April of 2011 when I decided to finally write something down, and I came up with the, who is this Ephemily character anyway? And Ephemily is a construct, a release valve, an alter ego. She lives in her pants or skirt, doesn't know the meaning of restraint, unless it has to do with something that's done in the bedroom, and she's let her id completely off its leash. She exists in that moment before common sense grabs your tongue out of your head and says, you might want to think about the consequences of saying that, hoss. Ephemily is a curvaceous woman in body and a player in mind. She feels no pain and gave up shame for Lent in 1963, despite not having been born until 1977. She is an over-the-top caricature of her real-life troublemaker painted in broad strokes and bright colors. She is a combination of ephemeral, feminine, and Emily. She drives a sports car, chases younger men, and has booty at her beck and call. She's the type where you don't say, stay out of trouble, you tell her not to get caught. And if she does, name it after you. She is infinitely charming, witty, and sharp. She's bored by the most interesting man in the world and could lead Chuck Norris around by his nostrils. She can slay her detractors with a razor tongue and a poison pen, wiggle her way into the minds of her admirers, and grind her way into the wet dreams of her lovers. She doesn't stop until her target is cowering in the corner or gasping for breath and begging for more. She's the type where you'd bail out of jail at 4 o'clock in the morning. You'd go to her cell to escort her from the building, and she'd be sitting on the bunk in her leopard print pedal pushers, pumps with one heel broken off, Helena Bonham Carter special hairdo, eyeliner smeared across one eye, and lipstick on her teeth saying, "It's about goddamn time," as the 3/4 burned cigarette is dangling out of the corner of her mouth. We all have friends like this, right? Or is it just me? All right. Ephemily exists without limits, glass ceilings, and fear of judgment. She is just under the skin and close to the vest. Her antics and mischief allow people to live vicariously, project themselves into the body of someone who could get away with it with a wink. She is the bad girl who takes no prisoners and realizes that wearing that special outfit isn't being objectified, it's proof she's got power. She is the 5-inch fuck me pumps you wear out on the town and kick off the moment you can because, sure, they make your ass look great, but they hurt like hell. Ephemily is the candle burning at both ends, true to herself, unashamed, and exactly what I want to be when I grow up. Thank you. I don't want to turn this into an organ recital, so to speak, but anybody in here have migraines? Anybody get them? Anybody have back pain, anything like that? All right. Woohoo! We suck. Yay, chronic pain and the drugs that go with them. There we go! I got somebody. I'll put you in touch. So, February of 2011, I don't know how many people saw it on the drive up, but that obnoxious little yellow Mini right out front, that's mine. There were a couple of days last year where I wasn't going anywhere with that snow. If you'll remember, the drifts were like this. My car is like this. It has a white top. No, I had a friend of mine suggest that I get a shark fin for the top of it, and I was this close to ordering one, except the one I found was held on with a suction cup. Damn. So if anybody finds one that's a little sturdier and we get snow, let me know, I want one. Or one of those wind-up keys, because I would totally take one of those too. Anyway, back to the story. Yeah, it was February of last year. We were snowed in, something terrible. I got about 3 houses down from mine, stuck. This is what vacation days are for. So I finally get dug out, and I find in my car I get better traction in reverse. What? So I'm reversing back down the street. Neither here nor there. But I get back home and I realize I'm starting to get one of those headaches. And those of you who suffer from migraines or anything like that, you know when you're going to get one. And this started off with just, this might not be so bad. You know, that little false sense of optimism you tell yourself, you lie to yourself. That's where this was going. It started with just a little bit of that fatigue and tightness behind my eyes. So when I got home, and I'll admit, I called in. I went back to bed. Who wouldn't? But I finally wake up eventually, and I realize that this is coming on. And I get out of bed, and I sit down, and I figure, well, maybe I can do a little bit of work from home, just take a couple hours of vacation time. And so I go downstairs, and I grab a Diet Cola, because that's going to help. And so I sit down in front of my computer, and I'm thinking, all right, well, we'll start with Diet Soda, see if maybe this is caffeine withdrawal. Because the 8 Diet Colas the day before wasn't enough, apparently, in the way my brain does math. That didn't exactly work, so I decided, okay, well, I've done some research over the years. Caffeine is good. Chocolate has caffeine in it. Let's try that. So, Diet Soda, chocolate. Not a damn thing. It's still looming. It's kind of like the entry of 2001. You get up there, doom, doom, doom. Okay, it's coming. I get it. So I decide, all right, well, you know what? If this isn't going to do it, I'm going to go back to bed because I can. And I hate email. So I'll just use the entire day of vacation. That and my internet connection took a shit. So I didn't really have much of a choice. I decided, all right, well, you know what? Naps will help because, you relax, all your body muscles relax, they let all that tension out. Besides, who doesn't like a day nap? It's like day drinking, only not. day drinking for squares. What can I say? So I go back into the bedroom and I pull the shades and I get out my adorable little eye mask and body pillow and I pull the comforters up to here because, you know, you want the room freezing and you warm under the covers. And am I the only one that does this shit? Okay, good. You're coming along with me. I appreciate this. So I'm thinking, all right, well, you know, this nap, this is going to do it. Yay. I got my water, got my caffeine. We're going to kick this. Hour and a half later, no, it's still there. Well, all right. I've done a migraine diary. I know what my triggers are. Let's just move on to the next one. All right, well, I decided it's time for a bath. Who doesn't like a bubble bath? And you know what? Epsom salts are fantastic when it comes to sore muscles. And that's kind of what this was. It started in my shoulders and crept all the way up over my skull like this crazy Egyptian, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, that. What you said. That thing. No. Soaked for an hour and 45 minutes. The water got cold. I finished a book, and I looked like something out of the 90s commercials, you know, the dancing raisins, only it really was not pretty because I was about 30 pounds heavier than this. I'm glad you've been drinking because some of you might get sick at the thought of that. Okay, well, the tub didn't work. It's muscles. They're really pissed off at me. So I have, as part home defense system, part pain relief, gotten really creative in some of the items I keep in my bedroom. Some of these are meant for the purposes you will think they are. This, however, is this gigantic, I'm not a size queen, let's throw this out here right now. It is a gigantic pastry rolling pin, probably this big around. This is meant for when I have a muscle spasm that I can't massage myself. And I mean massage, normally it has different connotations. That didn't work. I finally decide, okay, well, you know, I'm just gonna bruise up. Fine. What are we gonna do? I end up just giving up, taking the muscle relaxants that pretty much turned me into what I was Friday and Saturday, the good shit, where walking is a challenge. And I pass out for about 4 hours. My housemate comes and knocks on my door after some time, and he says, hey, corpse lady, yeah, your moaning is giving away the fact that you're not dead. Have you eaten today? You know, for all my smarts, I hadn't even considered this. Low blood sugar. Imagine this. So I walk out into the hallway, and I smell that he's made good on his word that he was going to make dinner. Me running when in a drug-induced state, first of all, me running in general, I work in IT, we don't run. Me on drugs, with stairs involved, it was comedy, let me tell you that right now. But I get downstairs and I wolf down my dinner, and only later does my fear-trembling housemate go, check all your fingers, because I think you might have eaten a couple of them. Yes, I was starving. Yes, that helped with the shakes, but the pain was still there, and I'm sitting there just head down on the kitchen table going, what the fuck is wrong with me? I'm just having an embolism or something. This is killing me. My eyes are twitching. My eyes are, they're tearing up, and I'm so frustrated with this pain. And all of a sudden, ding! Frustrated. Okay, so I've done a lot of research into pain, and I'm kind of a pervert. And sometimes these cross. So in this time that I'm sitting here at the kitchen table of all places, I'm sitting here going, okay, well, in my pain research, the female orgasm releases a lot of oxytocin into the bloodstream. Oxytocin is a hell of a painkiller. I just got a new rabbit. Excuse me, housemate, I will be right back. Doubled that dose and that fucker went away. So, moral of the story, if you have a headache, rub one out. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
I always enjoy telling her that she never invites me for the good shows. Some of you might know me on Facebook, and therefore, by default, you've pretty much seen our next performer in one way, shape, or form in a number of photo shoots I've done. And she's also performed with us on more than a few occasions in the past. So allow me to introduce you to Veronica Noir Smash.
Hey, y'all. Oh, this is not disconnected, so I feel like I'm going to wander about tonight because I'm winging it. Woohoo! Actually, I made an outline because I can't truly wing anything, the perfectionist that I am. I did want to say thank you, everybody, for coming out to the Slowdown. Slowdown. That's applause. Thank you. Also, we are used to performing at a place that is not the Slowdown. They have food and stuff like that. And I'm kind of excited about performing at a place without food. You'll find out why. I'm also excited about KIOS. Please, 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 even if it's only $2, you know they fucking appreciate it. Please put your money in there. I'm a transplant from another state, and one of the only things that keeps me in Omaha is the fact that I can listen to public radio. It's like, oh, at least there's public radio. I don't always appreciate the jazz. Sometimes it's not my style, but at the very least it's there. It's informative. It is unbiased. It's good stuff. So please throw some money in there. So yeah, we are at the Slowdown, and I've been wanting to tell these stories for a while, but like I said, we perform at a place with food, not just booze. And tonight there's just booze. My most epic of vomit stories deals with booze. However, I have had many, many, many vomit stories that don't deal with booze. I hate to puke. Absolutely fucking hate it. So when I finally do feel the need for whatever reason, be it sickness or any of the reasons you'll hear about tonight, it's epic. Fucking epic. Like, we're talking pea soup and Linda Blair epic. Oh yeah. But not many of them have dealt with booze, because I have a strange relationship with alcohol. Like I said, I'm a transplant. I am from the drinkingest state in the nation, statistically. Wisconsin has more bars per capita. Oh, Wisconsin! More bars per capita, more bars per square mile, all this type of statistical shit. And yet, I moved down here and know more people with DUIs. I'm not sure how that works out, but I did not start drinking until relatively late in life. And despite my epic vomit stories, I'll kind of explain my history with alcohol later. I wanted to tell 10 vomit stories, but that's my impulse with anything. I don't know if it's the ubiquitous of the late night top 10 lists or something like that, or perhaps my love of the metric system. But I've whittled it down. Yes, we want the metrics. We want them now. When I was probably 8 years old, my first epic vomit happened. We had gone out to eat at this Italian restaurant like the night before, and then the day after we went to a wedding, and I'm like a fat, awkward, gigantic 8-year-old kid, and I'm eating a lot of peanuts at this wedding and not really sure what's going on. It's uncomfortable. I can't talk to any of my parents' friends, stuff like that. And we were in the car on the way home, and I started to feel a little funny. The wedding was 30 minutes from my house via highway, and I did not know the laws of physics and stuff like that at the time, so I felt a little strange. There was a twinge. I'm not sure what's happening. I never fucking puke, so when it starts to happen, I get very confused, and I rolled down the window thinking a little air would help. And I'm sitting there in the car. It's just me and my mom. I don't know why Dad wasn't along. Perhaps it's because it was a fucking wedding. It was terrible. It was awful. And we're just sitting there chilling, windows down, everything's good. All of a sudden, I turn my head to the right and vomit. Attempting out the window, not really making it in my 8-year-old body, at 60 miles an hour on the highway. Now, FYI, if you're gonna do that, stick your head outside of the car. Because everything that I threw up, peanuts, Italian food, I'm not sure what else was in my stomach, but it felt like it was everything from the past couple of days, came right back in at me, on me. It was on the back window, as a matter of fact. My mom didn't even know I wasn't feeling well, so she swerves the car. That doesn't help with the wind effect, now it's on the ceiling and everywhere else. And we pull off on the nearest exit. She parks the car, turns on the overhead light, takes one look at me, and opens her car door. And then she's like, "You look like fucking Swamp Thing." Indeed I did. I looked exactly like Swamp Thing. I did not want to look at myself because I could smell it. It was everywhere. It was in my eyes. You're a kid and you're doing one of these things. I just want to go home. How far is it? 15 minutes later, we get home. My mom is still not taking my hand, but "Oh, my daughter, oh my God." Marches me into the house. My dad takes one look at me. We have a porch, he's in the kitchen. This is before the age of cell phones, so he doesn't know what's going on. He steps outside of the kitchen over the edge of the porch. Indeed, I had not seen the Stand By Me with the vomit, pukorama or whatever it is at the time. But yeah, no, certainly Swamp Thing, epic inspiration for vomit. I got immediately in the shower, in all my clothes, showered out. We had to have the car detailed. It smelled like strawberries and vomit for the next 6 months. The dress and pantyhose I was wearing, I still found chunks of peanut in them years later, chunks of peanut, not washed away by shower and or washing machine. No. So that's epic vomit story number 1. That's the first, epic of my life. The second epic of my life, I was in high school. In Wisconsin, bowling is paramount. So I was on a bowling league when I was 16. Yeah. And we were at this bowling alley. I'm bowling with my boyfriend's family because, that's the wholesome way you flirt with somebody when you're 16 in Wisconsin. And I had eaten a whole loaf of bread that day. I was kind of a chunky kid. I had eaten a whole loaf of bread that day, wasn't quite sure what was going on, didn't quite feel well. This was when you could still smoke indoors, so circa 1996. And someone in the lead lane next to us was smoking Camel Unfiltereds or something. And my 16-year-old stomach could not fucking take it. And because bowling is sacred and paramount, I started to run, and thankfully I did not puke on any of the linoleum. I made it above the lanes, but we were playing on lane 2. The bathroom was by lane 26. I started to run, turning my head. This is the longest stream of vomit I ever saw. I'm just running and puking. I puked all the way in through the bathroom door into the toilet. There was still a little bit left for the toilet. I'm okay, it's all on me. All right. I emerge into this bowling lane in bumfuck nowhere, Wisconsin, because that's where they bowled. A bunch of people I don't know, my boyfriend's family. And I look, and this, literally just a whole stream down 20 lanes at a bowling alley. I shit you not, 20 fucking lanes of vomit.
me, gigantic red-faced girl, and nobody I knew, and I just was like, hey guys, what's up? I feel a lot better now. So that was like, you know, the high school epic vomit story. My college epic vomit story has to do with drugs, because I still wasn't drinking at this point. Alcoholic parents, you know, you don't really drink. I found out, and this is a good FYI, shrooms plus Robitussin equals acid. No, this is a great equation for the rest of your life. I had taken shrooms like 2 days before or something, and you know, you don't have to sleep, so why sleep? Shit's great. Everything's fucking fabulous and rainbows. And then someone was like, hey, well, we're gonna like robo-trip and watch people spin fire. And I'm like, yeah, awesome. So I drank like a bottle of Robitussin because it's fucking delicious. And had a great time on that. Everything slowed way down. And did the 5 hours of robo-tripping or whatever. And usually, historically for me, after a robo-trip, I feel a lot better. My sinuses are clear. I'm not in pain. I'm like, super productive mode. So I'm talking to my husband at the time. I was married, and I'm like, yeah, let's like go home and like make some mix CDs and come back to the party with like better music. And we get in his ginormous Suburban, and the Suburban pulls out of the driveway, and apparently that is the motion that sets it off. And once again, I roll down the window, having learned the important life lesson. I throw my head outside of the car and do one of these. It's pink. Not only is it pink, he lives in this wonderful suburban neighborhood, and it's like all down his street. And then I tripped my balls off for another 12 hours. Like hallucinations, like full-on Yellow Submarine and everything. So shrooms plus Robitussin equals acid after you spew Technicolor vomit. Absolutely amazing. But no, the most epic vomit story of all, for which I still have the scar, happened because I started experimenting with alcohol. I never drank. My friends did. It wasn't a big deal, you know, even if drinking a state, you know, whatever. I'm weird enough that I didn't feel the need to. But when I started a job where I got paid to drink, i.e., I was a stripper. It's a useful skill to fall back on. I had taken ballet for like 13 years. I'm relatively flexible, and I was like, hey, it'll teach me how to sell stuff and talk to people. And it totally did. But I also found that the most degrading part of the job, you can only drink so many non-alcoholic amarettos and cokes until you just get fucking sick of the sugar shits after every single night. So I was like, okay, if I'm gonna get the sugar shits, I might as well be drinking whiskey. And the unfortunate part about stripping and drinking is that you're like dancing it off every hour. So you can drink like 20 shots a night. And if you have a type of schedule where you're dancing for 20 minutes out of every hour, you don't fucking get drunk. So I'm like 26 and I'm invincible. I've never been drunk and I make like $25, $30 a night off alcohol that people buy me. And I tell my boyfriend at the time this. I'm like, yeah, you think you're a big drinker. I've never been drunk. We had a drinking contest once where we ate the same amount of pizza and we started drinking Dewar's and Dr. Pepper. It was like midnight when we came up with this brilliant idea and we didn't know. That was like the only thing we could get was Dewar's from our friend and Dr. Pepper. He actually got drunk before I did. And I think that's because my body didn't know how to be drunk, because I had never been drunk, despite the fact that I had been heavily drinking every night at the strip club. And so I thought I was fucking invincible. Like, I can do whatever. And one night, I do believe it was a Tuesday, I had not one, not two, but like 3 regulars come in. And regulars are the type of people, you get to know their habits, you know what they like to do, you know what, like one guy wants to play dice and buy me shots of Goldschlager. One guy wants to play cards and buy me shots of Yukon Jack. One guy wants to have lap dances and buy me Mike's Hard Lemonade. So I'm like, whatever, I'm fucking invincible. I'll drink it all. So about 7 p.m. at night, this all starts. I'm playing dice. It doesn't matter. Strippers always win. You drink anyway. I never have to pay for it. The house always wins. So I'm drinking Goldschlager, Yukon Jack, Mike's Hard Cranberry. No one had ever told me, in my inexperience, no one had ever told me, do not mix alcohol. And after about 2 hours, having only eaten one slice of pizza bread, I was like, oh, I'm feeling pretty buzzed, I'm feeling pretty good, all right, it's just about time for my set. I'll just go up there and dance it off, no biggie. So I get up on stage, do about a 20-minute set, because I dance to Tool songs, so, you know, they're like 6 minutes long. Do a 20-minute set. I was not drunk until, like, I grabbed the pole, and the world swims away. And you're in 6-inch heels, because if I wear anything more than that, I'm like Gogeta up there. Grab the pole. I don't even know how I made it through that set. I forgot to take money. I can't even remember if I took my clothes off. I'm not sure. I get through my set. I walk off the stage. I put the G-string on. We had to walk across the bar. There was like a little pole at intervals that you could hang on to. Did not fall off the bar that night. I had in previous times because I was clumsy, not drunk. Made it across the bar. Didn't know what the fuck was going on with my world. This is the first time I am drunk. I go into the female bathroom, which is right next to the stage. I sit down on the toilet. I have no fucking clue what the hell is happening to me. All I know is that I feel horrible and the world is doing this, and I'm like, okay, I really fucked up, I'm not sure what. Blech. I throw up on the floor next to the toilet, because I am not experienced enough to know that I'm going to puke into the toilet. I do the drunken responsible thing, which is go tell the bartender that I threw up in the bathroom. She's like, no shit, Sherlock, and throws me like a bar rag. And, okay, so me in 6-inch heels and a little fishnet dress. I attempt to go back into the bathroom to do the responsible thing and clean it up. I take one step inside, slip in my own vomit, crack my head open on the toilet seat. Immediate blood from neck to wrist. I am just bleeding all over myself. A female customer sees this. Me covered in blood and vomit. She was sitting right next to the bathroom. Picks me up and like fireman carries me into the back room, where I proceed to alternately black out and wake up to vomit into their gigantic trash can, which I filled up about like 2/3 of the way. I don't know how puke math works, but there's always way more output than there is input. Always. I call the now ex-boyfriend the jerk who gave me the false confidence by losing the drinking contest with me. He picks me, because he lives in that city and I live like a half an hour away. He picks me up, takes me to his house, undresses me, like cleans my wound, which by the way, if you ever like have a facial gash, because of the whole pore situation going on, that shit looks like Cthulhu coming at you. You're like, what is that in there? And he's like, you're drunk, don't worry about it. Puts a Band-Aid on it, sits me in a bathtub of hot water, I pass out. I wake up when it's cold again, and he's like, it's time for breakfast. You can eat after that happens? What's going on? I have no idea. We go out to breakfast, everything tastes like whiskey. Everything smells like vomit. I, to this day, because of the like entire 24 hours where everything tasted like whiskey, like Yukon Jack specifically, and vomit, I cannot drink whiskey, I can't drink gold tequilas, I can't drink imperial aged anything. Some wines are too goddamn oaky for me. So I think, once I get too old to fall back on stripping as a career, I'm going to do the motivational speaking thing. And especially if I'm still in Nebraska, I'm going to go around to high schools when the kids around here start drinking, and I'm going to give them the life experience that I've shared and say, you know what? You don't need to drink heavily too early, because the lesson, if anything, that you take away from this is not don't get drunk at work. Because sometimes you're paid to get drunk at work. Sometimes that's okay. Don't get drunk on shitty liquor and let it ruin all of the good liquor for you.
Great. I'm sitting here kind of terrified, really, because we just had those stories. We have Mikey Taylor following next. Under no circumstances, Mikey, are you going to try to top that, right? Not the story, the puking. I know you. Okay. Sell it to me, big boy. Are you going to try to top the puking on the stage here?
By no means.
For better or worse, ladies and gentlemen, Mikey Taylor.
Yes, I do. For some of you who haven't seen me before, I did do a show in a fucking diaper once. And wings, yeah. It was the Valentine's Day show, and I was Cupid. Biggest fucking mistake of my life because they took pictures. And I picked up a hitchhiker afterwards. He was not impressed. So there are just a few things that really fucking chap my ass. And I'm usually pretty laid back, but society's kind of fucked. Because when you look around at the kids that are, running around these days, they haven't been raised the same way that people my age were. And we're just fucked. I mean, timeouts. We didn't get fucking timeouts. Well, we might have had to sit in a chair. But your ass was beaten so fucking bloody red by the time you had to sit in that chair, it was a punishment. There were certain types of punishment that are considered barbaric in third world countries. Like, you remember when they beat that kid's ass about 10 years ago for graffiti in the cars in Thailand? I had that happen one time, but I had to go out and cut my own switch. Anybody have to do that? I mean, if it wasn't big enough and it broke, you got beat till it broke, and then had to go get a bigger one. So you're out there like scouting through the woods, looking at all the trees going, fuck. Yeah, that one's gonna break. That one might fucking kill me. Well, the cool thing was I had a lot of cousins. So all my cousins, they just grabbed the first, quick little switch they could find, get their ass beat with it. They climb the tree with a sore ass, grab another one. I was an only child. So I had enough time to search around, and by the time that I had the mental torture of trying to find the tool of my destruction, my dad had kind of lost interest in beating me, which was really cool. He only actually spanked me once in my life, and I remember it. I was about 3 years old. I was in the trailer house that I resided in at the time. That explains a little bit about why I'm so fucked up. And I was sassing my mother with my hands on my hips, telling her, you're not telling me this, and blah, blah, blah. And my dad had come home from work. I didn't know this. He's standing in the doorway like this, looking at me for about 10 minutes. He reached down, picked me up by the back of my little giraffe animals, swatted me on the ass, and my legs went straight out. And then he kind of gently threw me into a chair and said, you can sit there until you can apologize to your mother. 3 hours later, I still hadn't apologized to my mom, and dinner was no longer on the table. That was the only time I'd ever been spanked. So punishment was, it was different. So so was the parents' ideas about raising you. They really didn't give a shit about disappointing you. It was kind of a tough shit mentality. Now they reason with kids. They bargain with kids to get them to do what they want. Basically, it was tough shit when I was growing up. I had 2 imaginary friends. That explains a little bit more about me. So I have a lot more now. My 2 imaginary friends were named Murphy and George. Murphy was a sheepdog. George was a German Shepherd. These dogs lived in my closet. When I got ready to go to kindergarten, Mom told me, now you understand that Murphy and George can't go with you to school. They're not allowed. So when that day finally came, I dealt with it. I had my plan. So I proudly marched off to school, got on the bus, and went to school. We only had to go half a day back then, so I came home at noon, and Mom says, so how was your day at school? I was like, it was great. I was all smiles. She goes, didn't you miss Murphy and George? I said, no. She says, really, you didn't? I talk to these dogs all the fucking time. I still kind of do, but she said, why didn't you miss them? I said, because I took them with me. They're in my pocket. We were driving to Omaha one day, and this is where that disappointment shit comes in. It's one of just a few times my parents disappointed me. Driving to Omaha, and that's back when it was cornfield, then Millard, then cornfield, then Omaha. Way back in the day. In front of us in a pickup truck is a sheepdog and a German Shepherd, and my dad says, look, there's Murphy and George. I was fucking amazed. I didn't think they were real for a while, but there they are. And then they turned and got on the interstate, and we went straight, and I just broke down because, fuck, they were imaginary, but even my imaginary friends fucking show up just to run away from me. At least my real friends are the ones that run away from me now. The other time that my parents really, really disappointed me, they told me when I was growing up that I could be whatever I wanted to be when I grew up. Okay? Don't fucking ruin it, Jesus Christ. I mean, I know you've heard it before, they haven't. I had it kind of narrowed down when I was a young kid. I either wanted to be a garbage man or a brain surgeon. I kind of hit somewhere in the middle, I think. With goals like that, I mean, you kind of set yourself up. I mean, you got to be really fucked up, or garbage men make decent money and get really cool shit. Or brain surgeons make really good money. So it was somewhere in the middle, and I made it. Then I started watching a bit of TV in the 80s. And they had to figure out a way to tell me that no matter what kind of vegetables I ate, what kind of vitamins I took, no matter how hard I worked out, no matter what kind of grades I got, what schools I went to, I would never be a muscle-bound, mohawked black man like Mr. T. Because that's what I wanted to be. The 18 fucking rocked. That's back in the days. That's back in the days when, when I was growing up, you still could see a pair of tits in a PG movie. I don't know, some of you might remember that. Our vampires didn't fucking sparkle. Our werewolves were not sexy. We had fucking heroes. Like the Dukes of Hazzard. The Dukes of Hazzard. 2 redneck boys running around Hazzard County in a really fast car with a really fucking hot cousin. Daisy Duke changed my life. Still to this day, I masturbate to Daisy Duke in reruns. True story. They also had some fucking guy named Cooter, and that would never make it on a fucking television show today. Then you had Boss Hogg, the owner of the Boar's Nest. He was always trying to get over on people, and he had the cops in his pocket. Roscoe P. Coltrane. And then his 2 little foils that he blamed, the 2 dipshit deputies, Cletus and Enos. Well, they inspired me one day. I was sitting on the floor, playing with my Dukes of Hazzard cars, and I had this moment of clarity. And I said, Mom, can Enos tell Boss Hog fuck you? I was like 4 years old. And she said, excuse me? So I thought she was hard of hearing. So I said it again. Can Enos tell Boss Hog fuck you? She walked up and hit me with 2 fingers right across my mouth and said, no, you probably shouldn't say that either. Then, I was, really kind of traumatized by that. Years later, she's recounting the story. And she goes, I'm just kind of wondering, were you sitting there watching that going, Enos, just tell him fuck you, it'll all be better. Hell, it would have been a better show then, Maybe that's why I like to use the word so much now. Another hero that I had growing up is a man named Evel Knievel. Oh yeah, clap, got my ass in a lot of trouble. Evel Knievel liked to jump shit. Well, he liked to attempt to jump shit. He never did a whole lot of jumping. He does hold a Guinness Book of World Records for the most broken bones ever, though. Luckily, I've never broken a fucking bone, yet. Most likely with my fucking face is what's gonna happen. But, Evel Knievel, if you remember his specials, they come on in the middle of the day and say, ladies and gentlemen, Evel Knievel's about to start the 7-hour pregame show for his jump over Snake River Canyon. They show you the Sky Cycle, the rocket ship that they've built to send him across this canyon. They show you his trailer that he'll be staying in all day. They show you what he had for breakfast. They show you what he shit out for lunch. They show you, it's like, Jesus Christ, man. And then all of a sudden, he's ready, and he takes like 10 practice runs. Then all of a sudden, it's time. And he goes right to the edge, and the fucking parachute that they made to help him get over, fall safely, deploys just before he gets off the ramp. He goes sailing down into the Snake River. The parachute worked really fucking good. Apparently, so did the little harness that's supposed to hold him on this fucking rocket ship. Because if he would have fallen the other way into the river, he would have drowned before they got to him. So, it was lucky for that. So I grew up watching this shit. So I decided, and I wasn't even growing up, I was a little kid. I decided to grab my big wheel. Yeah. Put it up on top of the coffee table. I was unsupervised at the time.
Still are.
Oh no, I've been under very strict supervision several times in my life, trust me. I crawled up on the coffee table and pedaled as fast as my fat little feet would go, attempting to jump a 45-gallon fish aquarium at the end of the coffee table, which would have led me directly into the wall. So I pedal. I get to the end. The big wheel went completely to the ground. My head went right through the fish tank. My ass hit the ground. I had these big goldfish and water just raining down on my head as I'm sitting there with this dumbass look on my face. Mom comes running in the room, responding to the commotion. Sees that I'm okay. I think I got some kind of ass beating for that. It wasn't a spanking. I think I got in a lot of trouble though. I don't remember that happening to fucking Evel Knievel when he fucked up. Bullshit. This kind of explains a few things about me that, for those that don't know me, you're lucky. I've gotten in a lot of trouble over the years, and there's certain things when you talk about growing up, it fucks you up a little bit. You got to think about when you get older, teenage years, when you start getting interested in girls. Oh yeah, love and lust and emotions and all that jazz make a guy do really fucking crazy things. This is a story about one of those times. This is called The Day I Lost It. It was a beautiful July afternoon in 1993. A 16-year-old Mikey Taylor was home alone. Well, I'm sure I was trying to decide if I wanted to go fishing with my pals or invent new and exciting ways to whack off. when the phone rang. I answered it, and much to my delight, I recognized a sweet female voice on the other end. It was my girlfriend from the summer before. Now, back in the day, you'd have a girlfriend for a couple months until your parents got tired of driving you around. Then there'd be a simple parting of ways. No messy breakups and no hard feelings. This young lady had moved from Ashland, Nebraska to Atlantic, Iowa, which to a 15-year-old might as well have been fucking China. So she's calling out of the blue, saying that she's back in town for a visit, and asking if I can come pick her up because she wants to see me. I rushed out the door and fired up my 1977 Gold Ford LTD with visions of strawberry blonde curls, freckled cheeks, and twinkling eyes. Oh, but how time skews the memory. I pulled up in front of the house, and here she comes running to the car. Apparently, Atlantic, Iowa had not been kind to her. The space between her freckles had been filled in with acne. The twinkling, innocent, youthful look in her eyes had been replaced with sort of a crazed stare. Somehow she had packed about 70 pounds onto her petite frame. I believe this is called blossoming. She jumped in and quickly informed me that she was hungry. I stopped by a Brenno's Pizza on the way home. We had difficulty deciding on what kind of pizza to get, so we settled on 2 different medium pies. But upon arriving at my house, we tore into that pizza. And after only 2 pieces, she took my plate away, grabbed me by the hand, and asked if my bedroom was still right over there. Leading me to my room, she asked me to turn some music on. So I turned on my 3 CD changer to hear Nirvana or Pearl Jam or Soundgarden or some music of the day. And I turned back around to find that my pants were being removed. I was both thrilled and frightened at the same time. Now, I had done the research on this, but I've never actually tried it out with a partner. I was shoved under my waterbed with my pants around my ankles and her face right down here. This was a new sensation that wasn't all that unpleasant, so I figured, what the hell, and I went with it. I was really getting into it, relaxing, and I closed my eyes. I shouldn't have done that. I didn't notice that she decided that it was 69 time. Now, this isn't altogether a bad thing, but when it's your first time and it comes by total surprise, it's a bit scary. I felt one fleshy leg slide up on one side of my head, and only moments later, not only could I not breathe, but I couldn't hear the radio either. Now there I was on this waterbed, trapped, being smothered by this girl's naughty bits. So I figured there was only one way to escape without interrupting what she was doing, so I pushed my head backwards into the bed and took a breath. Anyone who knows anything about a waterbed knows that a little motion on one end causes a tidal wave on the other end. Her motion down there caused my head to be thrust upward several times, and that's how I got the bloody nose. So there I am, pinned to the bed, bleeding, utterly terrified, but feeling really fucking good, when she rolls off me and onto her back and says, "Take me." I have no fucking idea what she means or where she wants me to take her, so she had to point. I figured this would be as good a time as any to grab one of those condoms I've been collecting up to this point. I nearly severed my dick trying to get that damn thing on. She grabbed it, turned it right side out, and installed it like a pro. Then she guided me to where I was supposed to be. It was at that moment that the CD player shuffled to the next disc. There was wild applause. And that's really the only part of this experience. It was exactly as I had imagined it would be. The next line that I heard was, "So, I was licking this girl's asshole." Yes, the soundtrack to my first sexual experience includes Andrew Dice Clay's Dice Rules album. I listened to one of my favorite comedians of the day as I awkwardly wiggled and wallowed around on top of this poor girl for at least 10 minutes. Then it was over. This beautiful, traumatizing event was over in one painfully short, embarrassing climax. With a mixed look of relief, disappointment, understanding, she smiled, tousled my hair, and said, "Now let's get back to that pizza." And that, my friends, is the day I lost it. Thank you.
In case you were wondering why I was kind of checking up with him before he got on stage. I'm checking up with him now after he gets off stage, anyway. All right, our next performer is the gentleman who opened up the show, and he will now officially close it out. Mikey Taylor brought him along, but please don't hold that against him. Instead, it's the gentleman whose name I consistently misspell, and he's about to whack me upside the head for it at some point in time. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Lacey.
Hi. You doing good? We've heard a lot of words tonight. You all right? Yeah? Let's thank the Slowdown for having us out. KIOS in the back who said, yeah, spoken word, that shouldn't be so bad. Oops. Give it up for the rest of the samurai. You alright? You good? Yeah? This is my mouth on paper, my heart on my sleeve, my refusal to shut up and swallow my silence. These poems are originals, covers, remixes, new words, old feelings long forgotten. They shout, they curse, they whisper, they sing, but most of all, they tell it like it is, and I hope you enjoy. This is called Shake the Dust. This is for the fat girls. This is for the little brothers. This is for the schoolyard wimps and the childhood bullies who tormented them. This is for the former prom queens. This is for the milk crate ball players. This is for the nighttime cereal eaters, the retired elderly Walmart store front door greeters. Shake the dust. And this is for the benches and the people sitting upon them. This is for the bus driver driving a million broken hymns. This is for the men who have to hold down 3 jobs simply to hold up their children. For the nighttime schoolers, the midnight bike riders who are trying to fly. Shake the dust. It's for the 2-year-olds who cannot be understood because they speak half English and half God. Shake the dust. For the girls with the brothers who are crazy. For the girls, or the gym class wallflowers. For the 12-year-olds who are afraid of taking public showers. For the kids who are always late to class because he forgot the combination to his locker. For the girl who loves someone else. Shake the dust. This is for the hard men who want to love, but no, it won't come. For the ones who are forgotten, the ones the amendments do not stand up for the ones who are told to speak only when spoken to, and then they're never spoken to. Speak every time you stand, so that you do not forget yourself. Do not let a moment go by that doesn't remind you. Your heart beats 900 times a day, and there are enough gallons of blood to make you all an ocean. Do not settle for letting these waves settle, for the dust to collect in your veins. Shake the dust. This is for the celibate pedophile who keeps on struggling, for the poetry teachers, for the people who go on vacations alone, for the sweat that drips off Mick Jagger's singing lips, for the shaking skirt on Tina Turner's shaking hips, for the heavens and the hells through which my father lived. Shake the dust. This is for the tired. This is for the dreamers. For the families who will never be like the Cleavers with perfectly made dinners and sons like Wally and the Beaver. This is for the bigots. This is for the sexists, the killers. This is for the big house, pen sentence prison cats trying to become redeemers. This is for the springtime that always shows up after the winter. Shake the dust. This is for you. Make sure that by the time the fisherman returns, you are gone. Because just like the days I burn at both ends, every time I write, every time I open my eyes, I'm cutting a part of myself out for you, giving it to you. So shake the dust and take me with you when you do. For none of this has ever been about me. All that pushes and pulls, pushes and pulls, pushes and pulls, pushes for you. So grab the world by its clothespins, shake it out again and again, jump on top, take it for a spin, and when you hop off, shake it again, for this is yours. Shake the dust. Make my words worth it. Make this not just another poem that I write, not just another poem, like another night that it sits heavy above us all. Walk into it. Breathe it in. Let it crash through the halls of your arms, and the million years of millions of poets coursing like blood, pumping and pushing, making you live. Shake the dust so that when the world knocks at your door, clutch the knob, open up, run forward into its widespread greeting arms with your hands before you, fingertips trembling as though they may with gratitude. Thank you. Beer. It's called I Like You. I like you. I like you a whole bunch of a lot. You're a pocket full of awesome. I like you. Like pirates and frat boys like booty. Like David Copperfield likes performing grand scales and yet lame-ass acts of illusion. Like the government likes performing grand scale yet lame-ass acts of illusion. I like you. Like testicles and homeboys like to hang. Like homeless people and breakdancers like cardboard. I like you. Like Muppets like being fisted. What, like you've never seen a happy Muppet? I like you a whole bunch of a lot, a whole lot more times infinity. I've got a thing for you. Like a magnet has it for a refrigerator, I'm stuck on you. And I like it. I like you an official metric fuck ton. I like you and I hope you like me back. I like holding you like the pillow holds your head when you sleep. I watch you and hope to be your sheets so I can wrap myself around you and hold you in my warmth. Anyhow, just because I spent an hour or so writing this down doesn't mean you need to like me back, but I would like that. I don't know. I'm going to be honest, I'm not really a poet. Certainly not a love poet. In fact, every time I try and write about love, my hand cramps, just to show me how painful love can be. And sometimes my pencil breaks, just to prove to me that every now and then, love takes a little more work than you planned. See, I'm going to be honest, I'm not really a love poet. But if I were to wake up tomorrow morning and decide that I really wanted to write about love, I swear my first love poem would be about you. Every day I would rewrite your name across my ribcage so that those who wish to break my heart would know who they'd have to answer to later. And you have no idea that I've taught my tongue to make pennies, and every time our mouths are to meet, I'll slip coins to the back of your throat and make wishes. I wish someday my head on your belly might feel like home, like doubt-to-doubt resuscitation, because time is supposed to be more than skin, and you don't know that if my heart broke every time you left, I'd be able to offer you confetti by now. You're explosive in the way you love me. Volcanoes watch you and learn. Terrorists want to strap you to their chest because you're a cause we're dying for. Maybe someday, time will teach me to pick up your broken pieces, put you back together again, remind you to click your heels, but you don't need this little bit of magic to tell you I was here all along. And I've never heard of a woman who can make my flawed body feel like poetry the way you do. I have to admit, I'm not really a love poet. But if I were to learn to write, I'd write about how I loved you the same way I learned to ride a bike, scared, reckless, with no training wheels or elbow pads, so my scars could tell the stories of how I fell for you. Your heartbeat sounds like my last name. Your smile like the Pacific Ocean. I would gladly take on your water just to swim beneath you so I could kiss the bends of your knees in appreciation for the work they do, keeping our heads above water. The word smitten is to love. What a kiss is to romance. So maybe my lips to yours could be like the penance to this confession, because I'm the only one preaching this defunct religion, sitting at your altar, praising you out of faith. Your body is a church whose doors are closed to me. I'm waiting at your steps, trying not to tremble. I don't know any other place to pray inside of. It's It's why still when I'm close to you sometimes, my skeleton shivers electric psalms. I'll offer you everything I have to give, my heart, my sleeve. Neither of these things are all that clean. And we can hide under our favorite blanket. Let me praise the greatest good in you. I want you to come to me like the afternoon. Come to me slowly, as if you were a broken sunset, like the lazy sky is on your shoulders. If you let me be your sunlight, I promise to penetrate your darkness until you speak angel wings. Pull me close to you. Tell me that you love me. Then scratch your future into my back so I can be everything you live for. I promise I'll die for you daily, then resurrect into your screams. I promise to love you as if it's the only thing I've ever done correctly. I want you to bite my lip until I can no longer speak. And then suck out the depression and these lost feelings, just to make sure they never come up in our conversations. I no longer need you to fuck me as much as I hated myself. Make love to me like you know I'm better than the worst thing I ever did. You see, I'm not really a love poet, but if I were to write, I'd write about how you have the audacity to be beautiful, even on the days when everything around us is ugly. I'd write about your eyelashes and how they were like violin strings that play symphonies every time you blink. Or on some days, my heart beats so fast my ribcage sounds like a fucking railroad track. My breath is a train I just can't catch. If I were a love poet, I'd write about how I see your face in every cloud, your reflection in the mirror of my soul. I've tried to write 1,000 times, looking for love through all of its rhymes. I hope you jump out of each page just to be closer to me. If you were here, right now, I'd massage your back until your skin sings songs your lips don't even know the words to. No, I swear I'm not a love poet. But if I were to wake up tomorrow morning and decide I really wanted to write about love, my first love poem would be about you. And after all this, you were like, so, how do you really feel about me? Fuck me. I said, put it like this. I want to be your ex-boyfriend's stuntman. I want to do everything he never had the courage to do, like trust you. And I swear when our lips touch, I can taste the next 60 years of my life. And some days I want to swallow photo albums of your pictures, just so you can be a part of me a little longer. And there are massive stacks of bad decisions hidden among all this poetry. Clearly I have not reached enlightenment beyond a few fleeting moments of writing, but I'm trying. I'm not really a love poet, but if you give me the chance, give me tonight. I'll wake up tomorrow morning and simply begin to write. So, this girl thing said to a stripper. So I was dating this girl for like 3 months. I noticed she's got a lot of free time during the day. So eventually I ask her what she does for a living. She tells me she's a stripper. Now my first reaction was, fuck. But out loud I was like, that's cool. The awkwardness left us hollow. The awkwardness left our mouths desolated like ghost towns in those old westerns. Words evacuated our minds like they were under attack. Our lips hijacked by Flight 93 on September 11th. We just stood there, smiling uncomfortably for 2 minutes, which felt like 3 days. Eventually, she broke the silence with some lengthy, drawn-out explanation of how exactly she got to this particular juncture in her life. I said, look, I don't judge you. In fact, we're really not that different. I'm guessing this was the wrong answer. Immediately she shrugs her shoulders. Immediately she puts on the facial expression, 9 months pregnant, ready to give birth to a million assumptions, all alluding to the perception that I will never, ever understand her pain. I said, listen, I'm a spoken word artist. Hell, I stand naked in front of an audience 10 minutes at a time, at least 2 times a week. for 10 minutes at a time, at least 2 times a week. I bare intimate aspects of myself to people I've never even met. I said, look, we've got more in common than you could imagine. I'm sure as kids we both thought we'd be doing something completely different with our lives. I'm sure you wanted to be a singer or a doctor. Personally, I tied every bathrobe and pillowcase around my neck, pretending I was a superhero so I could fly out of my neighborhood. But here we are. Here we are taking off our clothes in dark rooms. Here we are amusing strangers that will never be properly introduced to our spirits. And for the most part, we are just cheap entertainment. I told her the biggest difference between me and you, my pole doesn't go to the ceiling. Sorry. Now, don't get me wrong, I love what I do, I really do, but some days, honestly, I feel like I'm just up here stripping. This next poem used to be called I Hope You Fall Down 3 Flights of Stairs. It didn't work. Now it's called Dear Every Ex-Girlfriend Ever. Some of these guys have heard it. I auditioned with this piece, and I actually did a duet with it with Mikey, just picture that in your mind. This is called Dear Every Ex-Girlfriend Ever. The first draft was just a bunch of cussing. But, whatever. Now it's a poem.
You fucking work.
It has come to my attention that you, for some insane reason, love me now more than while we were together. This could very well be a case of not knowing what you had until it's gone. Or I have a couple feelings and ideas why this could be true. 1, I somehow physically get more sexy when I'm sad. I have evidence to back up this theory. I was once in a grocery store, half defeated by my half-broken heart, when a random lady grazed my right butt cheek. She didn't even say sorry. In fact, she did the opposite. She smiled and winked. True story. 2, you hated being with me so much that the sight of seeing me with another girl made you magically fall back in love with me. Like, poof! You're crazy. 3, all the time we spent on us is now spent on me. This means I have more time to exercise, read, write, dream, and save. This means I probably look better, smell better, talk better, have a little extra change in the bank. Damn, I'd fall back in love with me too. 4, did I ever say you were crazy? 'Cause you are. Number 5, oh, I get it now. I get it. You girls are into a challenge, like it's way more fun to love someone that doesn't love you back. Most people want to get that I need a challenge type bitch that easily would do a crossword rather than pick a fight with this big bone prick. But not you little adventure seekers. Y'all should come together and make a video, The Journey of the Adventure Skeezers, volume number 6. You never really loved me. You were in love with the thought of being in love with me. I was a fucking extra in your movie until you realized men like me deserve leading roles. 7, you never really loved me. 8, maybe I never really loved you. 9, I was right the first time. You never really loved me. 9, your bed smells like the last thing I was really good at. 9, I hope your next boyfriend gets smallpox. 9, yes, I said smallpox. 9, I hate you. 9, I hate me for hating you. 9, it's hard for me to count when I get emotional. 9, I heard 90% of human interaction is nonverbal, so... 11, I skipped 10 because you once told me 10 was your lucky number. There's nothing lucky about you. 12, thank you. I finally found someone who loves me. Thank you for teaching me how not to love her. 13, for the best thing. You're the best thing. The best thing you ever became was this poem, and a reason to like myself again. P.S. I'm the lucky one now, and you gave up this perfect 10. Signed, me. Oh, whoa. To the random dude who started dating my ex-girlfriend 3 days after we broke up. Yes, I saw that shit on Facebook. 1, did you know about me? 2, the first time I saw you and her in a picture, I wanted to take my entire arm, shove it in the computer, snatch the happiness off your face. 3, if I ever see you in the street, I'm probably going to punch you in the throat. 4, I apologize in advance. 5, there's nothing rational about love. Love stutters when it gets nervous. Love trips over its own shoelaces. Love is clumsy and my heart refuses to wear a helmet. 6, Cupid is fucking irresponsible. And I'm tired of him using me as target practice. 7, she always wears her heart on her sleeves to tell me, why the fuck do you look so familiar? 8, I think I've seen you somewhere in her smile. I feel like I've heard you in her laughter. Like I've smelled your cologne on her thighs. I bet if we dusted her heart off with fingerprints, we would only find yours. 9, I have this envelope full of all the butterflies from the first time she relaxed the Velcro on her lips, smiled in my direction. I think most of them are still alive, and I suppose these belong to you too. Thank you. I just have a couple more. This is called Prophet. Jesus was a revolutionary, a prophet. His mother Mary was a goddess. Still neither could have prophesied the dark that is upon us now, since the Christian right went wrong. Now white men drop bombs in the name of faith, born from a song of thou shalt not kill, left at the will of their God unheard, every word ignored in the name of prophet, while it was their prophet breaking bread with the poor, walking on bare feet. Now they're talking the path of God, but they're walking the path of greed. Preaching, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, but they've painted their cross red, white, and blew 140,000 Japanese people away in a day, creeping through villages last night in Afghanistan, guns blast, drafting children as dead soldiers, still young enough to be angels. See, they'll always be their brother's keepers. As long as their brothers are rich and white, you only have to look at the facts. Death row is black. The clothes on the American backs are sewn by brown hands in lands that have made theirs for the taking, raping whole cultures while proclamating themselves holy, but there are holes in their truth so deep. Jesus would weep in his own name being used and abused like this. Christian means Christ-like. Christ was neither white nor like this, neither white nor like your so-called Christian right. There's no such thing as a right wing. Wings are made for angels. I have yet to see a halo on your head. Blasphemy defines the things you've said, quoting scripture amongst your war call, your belly full and warm, while millions die beneath the weight of your sins. There are days I'm ashamed to wear the color of my own skin. There are days I'm ashamed. I even thought to pray to the same God as you, but really I don't believe I did. I don't believe that's true, because Christian means Christ-like. Christ was not like you, not like this, wasn't bound to the cross, wearing combat boots and clenched fists. Tonight the world wails under an unbelievable suffering, and you are the thorns and the nails. How many more will you have to crucify with your white lies, deeming yourself supreme and above when your God's love is the best thing you've ever lived by? Better cross your heart and hope to die a peaceful death, because Jesus comes back, finds his way to NBC and CBS, calls you out on all the war you've been living and all the peace you've been talking. Now that would be some reality TV worth watching. I got 2 more, is that okay? Yeah? This is called direct orders. You've been given a direct order to rock the fuck out. Just one? Don't worry, this will keep going. Rock out like you've just been given the last rock and roll album on earth and the minutes are counting down to flames. Rock out like you just won both showcase showdowns. Rock out like the streets are empty except for you, your bicycle, and your headphones. Rock out like your lips were just placed onto a breakdancing muse with legs that go all the way up. Rock out like Publishers Clearinghouse is ringing at your front door. Rock out like you never have to open a textbook again. Rock out like you get paid to disturb the peace. Rock out like music is all you've got. Rock out like you were standing on a rooftop and the city is loud and flowing as the river is flowing below you. Rock out like the plane is going down. There are 220 people on board and 221 parachutes. Rock out like the streets and books are on fire. The flames can only be extinguished by doing the electric slide. Rock out like it's Saturday afternoon and Monday was a national holiday. Rock out like somebody's got a gun barrel pointed to your temple saying, rock out like your life depends on it, fool, because it does. Rock out like your eyes are fading. You've still got your ears, but you don't know how long. Rock out like it's 5 o'clock. Make it pop locking time. Rock out like you've got a pants full of tokens and nothing else to do. Rock out like you have, like you're the international skee-ball champion of the entire universe. Rock out like you just escaped an evil orphanage to become or to join the Russian circus. Rock out like your hero has fallen. You're spinning your limbs until they burst into flames. Remembrance. Rock out like you were enslaved in the South. Dancing is all you have to know who you are. Rock out like your dead grandfather just came back to take a ride in your brand new car. Rock out like the table was full. Rock out like the neighbors are away. Rock out like the walls won't fall, but damn it, you're gonna try anyway. Rock out like it's raining outside and you've got a girl to run through it with. Rock out like you're playing football in the mud, and your washing machine is not broken. Rock out like you threw your window open on your honeymoon because you want the whole world to know what love is. Rock out like you got a book published. Rock out like you just went to your high school reunion. Find out everybody, including the women, are overweight and bald, except for the former homecoming queen who was just divorced by her impotent husband and who now only has eyes for you. Rock out like you've got a date with Heidi Klum. Rock out like the shadow of man passed behind you, drops you to your knees. You're buckling in sweat, cold metal pressed to your forehead. The trigger is pulled and the gun jams. Rock out like you've got an empty appointment book and a tank full of gas. Rock out like Jimmy has returned, carrying brand new guitar strings. Rock out like mangoes are in season. Rock out like the record won't skip. Rock out like this was the last weekend. Like these are my last words. Like you don't even want to ever forget how. Just rock out. This is my last one. This is my voice. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And it's a fine line when you're trying to define the finer points of politics. Politics being a Latin word, poly being many, ticks meaning blood-sucking butt lumps. You see, too many live in countries where it's bullets instead of ballots, where gavels fall like mallets. When held in the hand of those whose judgments can be bought as easily as children can be taught to covet. And the ones who are willing to speak up are forced to live so far beneath the radar that the underground is considered above it. This is for the Ho Chi Minhs and the Michael Collins, from the McGee to Sads and the muted gods. This is my voice. There are many like it, but this one is mine. We're not always right, but we've got the right to be wrong. We're not always free, but this is just a short story long. This is my voice. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And this time it's for the sons and daughters who watch the mothers and fathers drown in shallow waters while panning for the American dream in the polluted creek called the mainstream. This is for the homeless people sleeping on steam vents, making makeshift tents out of cardboard and old trash. They're trying to catch 40 rinks in between the crash of car wrecks, risking their necks by surviving another day so they can starve. Famine, carve their body into a corpse before their heart stops beating. So men in boardroom meetings can make it harder for them to get welfare, health care. Please, someone, just take time to care. And it's no wonder some of them pawn off their wheelchair. Every time I walk by, I can't help but feel at fault. And maybe if I didn't search myself hard enough for the Control-Alt-S so that I could save the world, or at least a little girl curled up into a ball. I've spent most of my life throwing compassion back like it's a fish that's too small. I have to cash my reality checks, drop her some spare fantasies, because I've seen every state. I've been to 23 countries, and the most valuable thing I've ever learned was to believe when people say please. This is my voice. There are many like it, but this one is mine. We're not always right, but we have the right to be wrong. We're not always free, so this is just a short story long. Have you ever been real? Have you ever been real? Been reamed out, picked on, put down? Ever been rowdy at the sound of your own heart breaking? Not to take the time to just listen. Ever been seen and not heard? You ever blurred the lines for those who've tried to find some way to define who you are, as if you were far from them, at least at the heart of them? It's more than a part of them. You ever been told you're too young or too old? There's always that line you're willing to walk by, and you got to receive and then beat the deadlines. So don't try and define us this time, because we're doing just fine. Don't try and define us this time, because we're doing just fine. Don't try and confine us this time, because we're just going to try. We're pissed and we're loud, and now we know why. Don't tell me there are no heroes. This is for them, for the women and the men, for Helen Keller, who against all odds found a voice, for the choice that Veronica made, for Martin Luther King, who stayed just long enough to share a dream with us. This is for the day on the bus, for Sister Rosa Parks. This is for the Joan of Arc, who believe even in the face of sparks becoming flame, the political game that Louis Riel refused to play. This is for the day the Dalai Lama finally gets to go home. For Dr. Jeffrey Wigan, who alone stood down big tobacco. For Nelson Mandela, who continues to go the extra mile. This is for the trial that finally found a man guilty of shooting Medgar Evers dead. This is for everything Malcolm X ever said, remembered by athletes who left the Olympics double-fisted. For Arthur Miller, blacklisted for calling a witch hunt what it was. For Galileo, locked up because he said the earth was round. For Two Live Crew, who found the sound that got them banned in the USA. And imagine if we can hear John Lennon play. This is for the someone who stood up today and said no. For Edward R. Murrow, who shut down McCarthy. For Salman Rushdie and Mahatma Gandhi. You, me, the city of this country, we will always have a voice. When you stand up to be counted, tell the world, this is my voice. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Good night.
And with that, we're wrapping it up for the evening, because who the hell is going to follow that? Because it sure as shit ain't going to be me. Okay, well, the show itself is over. Please stop by, say hello to our friends at KIOS. Please be very, very nice to those people over there. I'm going to wave to the nice folks on the internet. And remember, we're putting on another show called Dreaming, Friday through Sunday. And over at the Diamond on 16th, 712 South 16th Street. And you'll probably see this group of lunatics performing again on Saturday. Thank you very much. Good night.